Hello guys, welcome to another video, but before we begin, please like and subscribe. Today, I'm gonna rank all the Poppy Playtime villains from worst to best in my own opinion, depending on how their gameplay works, how they tie into the lore, and how much convenience and importance they have to the chapter. So, let's just get on to the first toy, which is... Before we get into the video, I just want to say that there is 5 villains that I'll be including. Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, Catnap, the Doctor aka Holly Sawyer, and Lily Lovebraid, as I think they have the most importance to their chapter, and they are probably the best antagonists in each of them. Anyway, let's just get on to the thing. In last place is Lily Lovebraid, as I think she doesn't really have that much importance to her own chapter, and I don't really think she's like the main villain. And third last, Anna Chase wasn't really good. It was kind of missed from class, which is not what Playtime, Poppy Playtime really goes for. However, what I will say is good about her is her tea party at her present. I also like the lore. I like how she's Miss Gracie. But if she was like removed, the prototype would have just like came at any point in the chapter and would have made a difference. She doesn't really seem important, and she really isn't important. I feel like she's only here for the Miss Gracie lore, and just to like add an antagonist to the chapter because they originally were just going to be the prototype. But yeah, fair enough. But like, could have at least been like another Pianosaurus or even Boxy Boo. But in Poppy Playtime 4, he was revealed to be like dead. So, you know, let's move on to the next toy. And in 4th place is Huggy Wuggy. I am most definitely going to be hating him for this, but honestly, he doesn't really have that much importance to his chapter. The only purpose he was there is just to be there and like scare us. He is a good villain, but honestly, I think the others above him did a better job in their chapter and a better job at like setting a mood and setting a tone. Huggy Wuggy just feels like a filler to me. And yeah, in the first chapter he was actually probably the best villain, but the way they bring him back in chapter 4 just made him feel less scary and more of a side character, if you know what I mean. However, his chase in the first chapter is definitely the best chase in probably any indie horror game ever, and his design is actually fairly creepy and scary. However, I don't really think any of the Poppy Playtime villains are scary, but Huggy Wuggy feels like someone who definitely would be. However, he just feels like a filler in the 5th chapter, and in the first chapter it was too short, so maybe they could remaster that. But anyway, let's just move on to our next villain, which is, and in 3rd place is Holly Sawyer, aka the Doctor. He may not seem like the type of guy who would be a good antagonist, but he actually has more relevance to the story and lore than people actually think. Aside from being a well-written character, he has a cool design, honestly. He also is like a big threat of us moving on in the chapter. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about him, but honestly, just take my word, he has more importance than you think. He is the owner of Yarnaby, which if you know about Yarnaby, if you know things about Yarnaby, you know that he is a big threat to the story. And he is just... They are there to slow us down. The way we bring him back in chapter 5 was kind of cool, but honestly, it should have been a better ending, in my personal opinion. That trio in chapter 6 going to be so mid. I mean, peak. There's really much to say about him. All I have to say, good design, good villain, you know, blah blah blah. Let's move on. In 2nd place is this 2nd chapter's antagonist, Mommy Longlegs. God, her name actually makes me so uncomfortable. She is a good villain because she actually poses like she actually has relevance to the story. We need to get Poppy back because if we don't get her back, we can't escape without the train code. But, you know, she betrays us, like, crashes our train, and then we have to fight Mommy, blah blah. No, without Mommy, we have to go to Catnap and fight the prototype in chapter 5. You know, relevance. Mommy Longlegs' lore isn't really known, but irrelevance, and irrelevance is like she needs to be here unless we die or something. I don't know. But she is a good villain. She actually poses a threat to us because we need to get Poppy back, you know, escape. And the only thing I don't like about her is that she doesn't really need to be in the chapter. We only need her to escape. And if she didn't even exist, we wouldn't be we would have just got past this part and got a catnap. But you know, we do need a villain, and we have a good one. So let's just move on to number 1, which I think everyone has been looking for. And finally, it's my favorite and probably the best villain, and probably other people's favorite villain, Catnap. Where do I begin? For starter, he has a really cool concept. And honestly, I'd like how they make him like a cat, and red small, blah blah blah. To be honest, I can't really explain it. The second reason why I think he's probably one of the best villains is because his ability to make these hallucinations is actually really good. And the final Act 3, or whatever, final battle with Catnap's actually really, really fun. It also probably has my favourite boss music in any game. I also love how he kind of plays on religion a bit. Kind of twists and turns it. And just plays on the example. He is a good example of a corrupt being who believes in corrupt religious stuff. And the way he devotes himself to the prototype is actually really sad. It was just a normal kid before, you know, Catnap came along. I mean, no, not Catnap, the prototype. Honestly, he's just a really good villain. And my final reason is that his design is actually really good. He's this cat being, this long, lengthy, hungry cat who devotes himself to someone with a big smile that he can't get rid of. It's kind of a good way of saying how Playtime code just forces you to smile. But anyway, that's all I have to say. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and you know, show other people video, blah blah blah. I'm not trying to force you, just asking for you to like and subscribe. See ya in the next video then.